Hi, all you SPMEs out there. Today's video has 3 points, and you're going to want to stick around because the third point is a secret as to which tool I consider to be the best when it comes to self-publishing. So let's get into it. Today's topic is must-have self-publishing tools, and this is one I've looked forward to for a very long time to get really down into it of which tools are the best tools that you should be using when it comes to self-publishing. So maybe you're a self-publisher, you've written your very first book, and there's a key thing that's going to happen. You're going to discover to get this book self-published means you're going to need to know which tools you should use. But don't worry, there are 1,000 tools developed for self-publishers just like you to help you get your book on the market. Well, you got that right. The problem is there are 1,000 tools. If you threw in courses and information and all sorts of stuff, you're going to get completely flooded and overwhelmed. And one thing here is we like to keep things easy, not hard. And if you expose yourself to too many tools and all of the learning that goes on, that frustration could mean your book doesn't get on the market and the ideas and the stories that you want to tell will never get into the world because of these tools. And that is a problem I want to help you with today. So this is Chris Baird from SelfPublishingMadeEasyNow.com, where self-publishing doesn't have to be so hard. Hit the subscribe button if you find this video helpful and want to help me also beat the YouTube algorithm, which is trying to bury my videos. But just do me a favor and hit that button, and check out my free checklist below in the description to grab and find out the secrets involved in getting your book onto the market and also selling. So let's get into it. When I first got started self-publishing, my very first tool was Scrivener. Well, that's not completely true. My very first tool was Microsoft Word and Excel, because I had to keep track of, well, okay, which book am I on? What have I done so far? Sort of keeping track of that. And also when I wrote my first book, I did it in Word. But then came the interesting part. Well, I'm going to need a cover and I'm going to need to format this book. And there's your first 2 starting points that create a bit of confusion. I originally thought I'll just pay somebody on Fiverr to do the formatting for me, only to discover that the table of contents did not work when I clicked on it. In addition, I discovered that they messed up the colors when it came to the Kindle version, so that if somebody were looking in the nighttime mode, they couldn't see it because the colors were dark blue. It didn't change. They hard-coded the colors into the Mobi, or now it would be EPUB format that goes onto the ebooks on KDP Publishing on Amazon, your Kindle book. And so when they were coming down to it, it made it impossible for somebody who'd want to read it. Well, that's easy enough. I can just go back to them. But I did, and they gave like 1 revision. And during that 1 revision, they messed up something else. So the formatting on the bullet points was now off. And I thought, this is ridiculous. I may have to bite the bullet and actually go about and learn how to do formatting myself, of which since then, I've obviously learned how to do it. I teach people. You can check out my course for formatting below in the description. But the thing is that my very first formatting tool was Scrivener, which I had heard so many people talk about as being just this amazing tool. And I started using it, and I thought, wow, this is pretty easy. There's a number of aspects. Though in many ways, Word covers a number of those things. But then what I found was that when it came time to put out my table of contents, I was in the exact same problem where the table of contents was not working correctly. And I read a lot of sites talking about how you can get it to do it. And maybe this issue has been fixed since then. But I thought this is very, very difficult. And so my next one was I went over to Jutoh from Scrivener to do formatting. But then with the cover then, because as I mentioned, you had to do both the formatting and the cover, I started by, again, I paid for somebody on Fiverr $40 or something to do a cover for me, and it was terrible. So then I realized, okay, maybe I need to learn how to do covers myself as well. So therein I went on to GIMP, and I went to Canva, and I learned about free photos you can get on different websites. I think Pixel was I forgot the name of it. Put it in the comments if you can remember the name of that one site. Pixels was the name, I think it was. Pexels. Now I got it. That's the one. And the other was using Pixabay was another one that was being used to find free pictures. And Canva has a whole series of free pictures on their books. I was almost amazed that you can throw books onto Amazon using their templates. Don't even change the photos. Use their free templates for covers, and those books sell because the covers are so well designed by graphic artists on Canva. So that was just a quick discovery that I made. So that was on to the other tools. Continuing onwards, I then went on to KDSpy to help me find out. It was competitive keywords and things like that. KDSpy, Publisher Rocket, Aweber for my emails, which I later went over to ActiveCampaign for email lists, which, by the way, you do need to have something to do that. Bluehost for my hosting. I think I also tried HostGator and a couple of other hosting platforms before I landed on Bluehost, which some people don't like, but it's been okay for me. OnlineJob.ph when finding virtual assistants. That would work well for doing my day in and day out tasks, and later for hiring Upwork, people doing transcription, and Fiverr for covers and all sorts of things. And so as you can kind of get a feel for it, there's a whole series of tools and services that I played around with. And maybe you don't have a very big budget to work with, and I certainly didn't. But the money that was coming in gave me the ability to start playing. And as I had more books on the market, that meant more money coming in, which meant more money to play with, to figure out which tools weren't just the best tools, but the best tools for me. And that's something you're also going to have to keep in mind as you continue this game. So there were so many things to try and fail at until finding the perfect combination of tools that worked for me. And I've stuck with pretty much the same set for the last maybe 2 years or so. I don't think I've really swapped out any tools at all in the last couple years because the set that I use is so powerful, right? But I'm always looking for new ones, and we'll hit that a little bit later. But let's get on to it. I want to hit on the 3 top tools that I use today. So tool number 1, it's KDSpy. And this is for finding the correct titles and keywords for the books that I'm putting out. When people are going to be searching for a book, unless they already know you, and if you've got a big audience, well, then you're already selling books. Why are you listening to me? Well, actually, I can help you sell more books, but anyways, you got the idea. If you're already selling so many books, there's really no point, right? I mean, you've already got an audience. You could probably put out anything with any cover, and they would probably sell just fine. But for the vast majority of self-publishers and authors, you do not have that audience, those people who already are looking for you. So it's going to be the keywords are going to be the first and starting point that they're going to look at. They might look at categories as well on Amazon, but the keywords, they're going to look up some keyword and it's going to hit your book. So if your book is, no matter which type of book, you want to make sure that your keywords, the things people are searching for on that type of book, are going to register when they do that search. Now, obviously with nonfiction, it's a lot easier. Like, my classic one is puppy training. When they type in puppy training, you want to make sure you have puppy training in your title so that your book is going to show up at the top of the list on Amazon, or even Google for that matter, when they do that search for those keywords. But how would we know if the keyword was profitable? Well, the answer is you're going to use KDSpy in order to figure that out. But then we're going to run ads in order to find that audience and to push people in. And the way that we do that is with Publisher Rocket. That's the one I use for my ads, keywords that I'm going to be using in my ads. If you're first getting started, just set it up to automatically choose and automatically figure out the keywords that will be used for you. That can be very helpful when you're getting started if it's a barrier. And that's something with this particular channel that I want to focus on. It's that we want to do it the easy way. Now, there's so many people out there who tell you need to buy these 5,000 tools and you should just, do this and do this and do that. It's just so confusing. And I'm just not one of those people, these gurus with the confuse you, make everything hard and difficult. I think it should be easy and fun, but that's just me. Hopefully you're here because of that exact reason. It should be easy and it should be fun what we're doing here. If it isn't, you're doing something wrong. But let's move on to point number 2. The next one is Grammarly, and that is something that I also use when I'm doing my first level editing. It's an unbelievably powerful program. Like the other tools, you can find it below my affiliate links in the description. I only use and promote tools that I myself personally use or have trained my virtual assistants to also use when formatting and putting the books together. So I'm just giving away everything because I don't believe you should have to experience the suffering that I went through when I was trying to figure out the tools. I'm going to save you an awful lot of money on these tools, and now is the right time to go about getting the tools that are going to meet your needs. Okay, so let's move on to number 3. and this is the secret of today, it is by far my most useful tool, and it is Jutoh. Somebody corrected me recently. I know I had been calling it Jutoh incorrectly because so few people have found this gem of a self-publishing tool. It is by far the best formatting tool on the market so that you yourself can format your books just using this tool. I show you exactly step by step below in my book formatting made easy course, which you can find below in the description. I mentioned it before. This is something you're not going to want to miss because you're wasting hours trying to figure this out or hiring other people to do the formatting for you. Just save yourself the time and money and just get the course, go through it. We walk through the whole thing. You can ask for your money back if you're dissatisfied, but the fact is we're going to take you right through those steps and make sure that you're not wasting time when it comes to formatting your book, which is what an awful lot of authors do, and the end result is their book never gets on the market. You see, the best on the market, so it's the best on the market for formatting. It does the table of contents perfectly, unlike Scrivener, at least when I was using it. I don't speak negative of anybody's software. I just say that when I was using it at that time, it didn't have that solved. I know it was the most popular at the time, but Jutoh was by far is a better tool. So in my opinion, I only give you my honest opinion, and I only tell you about the tools. But the thing is, if you look below in the description, you're going to see 100% of all the tools that I use and what they're used for. And these are the ones that I personally use and I recommend. And so check out my affiliate links below in the description. That's another way to help me out with this particular channel so that I can produce more videos that you will find useful. But I have a question for you. What is your best tool you use for self-publishing? I missed the R, I know in 4. But the thing is, what are you using when it comes to self-publishing? I want to know if you could put your #1 top pick tool. Mine is Jutoh. What's yours? Put it down in the comments because I need to know exactly where you're coming from and which tools you're using, because maybe I'm using the wrong tools. I learn from you all just as much as you learn from me. So sharing is exactly how we as authors pull this whole thing together and are able to win as a team. There's enough of a reader audience around to go around for all of us, so let's help each other out. And check up above me here for more video answers to your self-publishing questions. Thanks.